So now I'm going to share a story with you guys. It's not a survivor story, but it's something very, very dear to my heart and a big reason why this event is happening in the first place. So I'm going to take you back first about 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was in and out of the hospital. I was having these problems with my kidneys. It was like chronic kidney infections, and they left me feeling really, really awful. And one time I was there waiting for my results, which of course was going to be another kidney infection, but I had to go back and forth. And my mom was there with me. And she was sitting beside me, and she was distracted. She was on a phone call, and it seemed really important. And I look over, and she has this blank stare, and her body starts physically shaking, and tears start streaming down her face. I thought that's kind of strange. So I turned to her, and I said, "Who is that? Like, who are you talking to on the phone?" And she sighs, and she says, "That was your Uncle Rudy. Auntie Pam is in the hospital. They think she might have cancer." I didn't know what to say. I felt my stomach just drop, and I looked at her and I said, "Look, don't worry. There's no official diagnosis yet. They're just saying that they think we can't just assume it's cancer, right?" So I held her hand to stop her from shaking, and I told her it was going to be okay. Well, unfortunately, they were right. It was cancer. And it wasn't early stage cancer either. See, my aunt had been saying for months that she was having stomach problems. She would frequently talk to my mom on the phone, and she would tell her, "I'm having problems digesting my food. It just like something doesn't feel right." And the doctors would tell her that she had something called acid reflux. That's what they thought. And she was also going in and out of the ER, and eventually she was diagnosed with a benign tumor, which means non-cancerous. By the time July of 2016 hit, which was a couple months later, she was back in the ER, and this time she did a scan, and her entire body lit up. And it was devastating for our family when we found out. The oncology team basically told us that it was malignant, it's end-stage cancer, and all we could do at that point was think, well, we need to make the most of whatever time we have left with her and just make it worthwhile, right? Well, sadly, just for 2 weeks, we would visit her as often as we could for those 2 weeks. And after that point, she ended up going into cardiac arrest. And then she ended up in the ICU, and she passed away. So she passed away in 3 weeks. Can you imagine that? 3 weeks, you go to the hospital, you get diagnosed, and you pass away. It was such a blur for our family. It was such an emotional time. And it really, really opened our eyes to how short life is and that you can't take any moment for granted. I mean, so often we say we're so busy to see friends or family members. But it's in times like that you start to realize how precious your time with your friends and your family members really is. And so one thing that resulted out of that was that our family grew so much closer. My mom, she sees her siblings much more often now, and the cousins were the children of the siblings. We try to see each other as often as we can as well, because it really opened our eyes to everything. And so my aunt, her full name is Bibi Pamela Dean Manbode, but I just call her Auntie Pam. She was the inspiration behind this event for me. She didn't have breast cancer. They think it was pancreatic, but I wanted to pay that tribute to breast cancer because I was saying it was the awareness time. But during that time when she was going through everything, I was sitting there actually planning out this event, and FemEvolve didn't even exist until a couple months later. It wasn't even like an idea in my mind. It was just, she was someone who loved comedy so much, and she referred to everyone as my friend. That's what she would say. She was just such a loving person. And it was really difficult because I saw my cousins, who were just the ages of 23 and 27 at the time, lose their mom. And I saw my uncle, who had just celebrated his 50th birthday. It was supposed to be a happy time. And it wasn't. And so I wanted to pay a tribute to her, and that's really what this event is about, is in her memory and just paying that tribute. And I had no idea how I was going to put it together, but I knew I had to. And then in June of this year, I was really lucky to meet Jose, who's going to be our headliner comedian for tonight. I met him at a speaking competition called Speaker Slam, and Rena, who's the co-founder of Speaker Slam, is actually here in the audience. And so Jose was like, he listened to my story. I told him randomly after like one speaking event that I went to, I was like, hey, yeah, you're the guy that competed with me and that beat me, right? Yeah, okay, that's you. Okay, so I told him about the event, and he was so supportive and so on board, and he was the one who really came together with me, and we put this event together with the comedians that you're going to see tonight. He connected me, and it was just such an amazing time planning this entire event, and I'm really happy to see it all pan out. So I just want to say a huge thank you to Jose for that. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy the rest of the evening. We're gonna take about a 5-ish minute break because we're running behind on time, and then we're gonna have Salma, who's our host, take the stage. Also, I wanted to mention really quickly, if you haven't entered the giveaway yet, Christina, we have the same name, don't ask. She's she's in the corner over there with the red little purse. You can still enter our giveaway. We have like really cool wellness products, hair products, beauty products, a bunch of stuff. So men and women, you're all welcome to enter. And we'll do the draw before the comedy acts. Thanks, guys.